Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Dexter,
I'm Whitney,
and we are tied
tied
together.
together.
So last episode I talked about how I felt when you showed up in my driveway and we hung out and you came down for the funeral and what
hmm
it was like for
When I
my.
when I visited Florida, when I first met you and visited Florida.
hmm
Okay.
So I want to turn that question back to you and ask you what your experience was like. I guess from the moment the plane touched down. Um,
Okay. Um. So I found these guys at the end of December, and I started to make. I At the end of January. It was about a month. When I got in contact with my birth mother, and I wanted to make plans to meet her mom, who lives in that same part of Florida. And because I knew her health wasn't that good. I'm gonna fix my hair just a little bit, just go a little bit like this.
this is
um
this is pre-play.
this is pre-play. uh um and when I reached out to her about that, she said that her mother had fallen and she was in the hospital. And I had a relationship with her. I've never really spoken to her actually, but she sent me like Christmas cards, and I sent her Christmas cards of my kids, and she gave both my girls something when they were born. um Things like that. My this grandmother, my birth mother's mother. So I always thought that I would. It's dumb. I never thought about meeting my birth mom, but I always kind of assumed that I would meet her mother.
hmm
Um, I'd heard a lot of stories about her. Um, and I always assumed I would meet her. So, but anyways, what happened was she fell, and she didn't have a great. I don't know exactly, but she passed pretty quickly when she was at the hospital. And so all of my plans for meeting with her turned into was I gonna go out for her funeral or not? Um, do you remember anything? What do you remember about that?
Uh, it was crazy. You had just done another funeral previous to that, and
Yeah.
then like it was like, oh, I'm gonna you were setting up plans to meet with her, and then like immediately after starting to make those plans to meet with her, they said she was in the hospital, she wasn't doing well, and it all kind of happened really quick.
Really quick.
Because we weren't even supposed to meet until July, like.
Well, I didn't have the money. And so I was like, oh, maybe, this July we'll go out to Florida for like a cool trip, whatever.
hmm
But this was end of January, 1st of February. So I decided that I was going to go out. I decided that I might not get another chance to even lay eyes on her, and I might not get another chance to meet that side of my family. Um, so yeah, I took the chance to go meet her, or to go out and meet my birth mom at least, and to attend the funeral and be counted, kind of.
hmm
Um, so I think the funeral was on a Friday. I think all this went down on a Sunday. And then I flew in on a Wednesday for the Friday funeral, or it might have been the next day. It might have been a Thursday funeral. I don't remember. But I flew in on a Wednesday. It was late. Um, by the time I got my rental car and everything, it was dark.
It was like, yeah.
Dexter lives about an hour outside of Pensacola, and so I had flown into the Pensacola airport, and it was a long, dark drive
hmm
um, to your house. And
You were trusting me with directions. That must have been. That's the real test of
no,
faith
I
right there.
didn't know. You just gave me your address, but I remember I had like touched the plane had touched down in a region of the country that had heretofore had only existed like in my mind. Like I had heard a lot about I had heard some stories about uh where I was born, and because my adoptive mom's like friends with this was friends with this bio family.
Mm-hmm.
And so she had some stories. She'd spent some time there. She had told me some things. So I remember driving in the dark and being like, am I really here? Like, I couldn't see out. I couldn't see anything, you know. And it was like, it wasn't quite real.
Couldn't make it out that late at night.
Yeah. And it was like, I've just come down. It's like, it was like a dream.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like when a dream starts and you can't quite, like, it's not very clear. So, Dexter's parents have a very long driveway.
Mm-hmm.
And I pulled up this long driveway and I was like, oh my gosh, I hope this is the right house. And I remember I remember just turning it was a minivan, turn the car off and just sit there for a minute. To get ready. I took that moment. It was the last moment we were ever going to have where we were in two separate universes, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I, like, they all knew I was coming, like, my birth mother's family. So just a reminder, Dexter and I share a father. So this family and this event that was going on he didn't know these people or anything like that. But and I wanted space from them. I didn't want to, like, stay down there or anything. They offered me to stay there. And I just said no, I needed some space for this first meeting in particular. So I stayed where Dexter lives versus where they were staying is about 35 minutes away. And then I guess you don't live there anymore, you live here. But so I went to Dexter's house first before all of that stuff, because that stuff was going to be crazy. And I just remember thinking, like, this is going to be the last time I ever haven't met my brother in person.
It's the last moment you'll have, like, a concept of me without actually having met.
Mm-hmm. And it was last time that we had existed. It's weird to explain what it's like to
live independently.
Well, no, to see you
exist independently.
Exist independently. Yeah, like see you on your Facebook page, see you with my face, see all these memories. And see you exist. You're part of, like, this fairy tale. You're part of, like, this place in Florida.
I'm Prince Charming, thank you. No, just
but you know, and I'm like coming in and, like, literally, like, just, like, I felt like the world might end or something, because if it was like two universes were colliding, like, it wasn't a real place to me at all.
Yeah.
So then
so you're sitting in the car.
Well, and then I knock on that side door, and it takes a long time for Dexter to come and open the door, and I was like, what is up? Sitting on the stoop. It just felt like forever. It probably wasn't really that long, but it felt like such a long time, because
like 10 minutes. I hated it.
It was so he had to get down the stairs. There's like a few stairs there. He told me to come to the side door, and he had to come down the stairs to let me in. That was something I didn't understand. Because Dexter and I had talked a lot. I wasn't sure about
the setup or my mobility.
I wasn't exactly sure about how well, because cerebral palsy is such a broad
and I tried to explain as best I could, but it's hard to
well, how can you?
It's like it's like trying to explain, like, for an able-bodied person, it's like, explain to me how you live your life every day.
And you're like, I don't know, just do it.
Just do and that's exactly how it was. Like, there wasn't stuff that I didn't intentionally forget to mention, but it's just, like, for me, it's just regular.
Right.
So I didn't think to mention it.
Right. So,
anyway.
And so I know you used a walker to walk and stuff like that, but anyways, so, you open the door, and I don't know, it was just like a wave. Like I felt like the door opened, and like the energy of this moment just, like, hit me in the face.
I just remember, I open the door and I look at your face, and you just light up. Like, I've never seen somebody smile that big. And, like, at that point, like, I was kind of like, I was good there, and then I hugged you, and then, like, when I started to fall, I think I, like, mentally checked out.
So I took Dexter in like a hard embrace, and then I started to cry. I mean, it was really emotional.
Yeah.
But anyways, his legs don't work. Like, they work less than I saw. I didn't mean to. I took his balance when I took him that hard. Like, I grabbed him hard like this, and I took his balance, and I didn't realize that was how that was going to be. And so, but you never fell. I supported you.
As I gently.
You never even. Maybe did we end up on the floor that time?
We near about did. We really.
We
did.
didn't quite.
We near about did, but you did support me. All joking aside, you really did. We were okay.
Yeah, it was fine. You
But-
never got hurt.
No.
But yeah, we didn't like tumble out or anything. But
No.
so then it was just like a daze, and we sat on the couch.
Because I
cried.
You cried for probably a good 10 minutes, and I just held
I
you
don't
there.
feel like I cried that long.
I felt like.
But we hugged, and I cried for a little bit.
Mhm.
For some.
I'm kind of putting that together.
Mm-hmm. And he probably was like, "This is 10 minutes of crying. I don't know what to do with this girl."
I wasn't there all the way, so I just kind of hugged you and held you.
Mm-hmm. So then, and then I didn't even help. Like, I figured you'd tell me if you wanted help up those stairs, and you didn't say anything. So I sat there and watched, and I was like, "What the heck am I doing?" Like, he's like, I didn't help you up those stairs. I figured if you wanted help, you would have asked me.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went and we sat on the couch next to each other in perfect silence for probably 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Just like this, just like I was on the other side of you like this, but just looking like straight forward, and just like, is this real?
Mm-hmm.
Is what I was thinking. And then I came back online a little bit before you, and I was like, oh, like, it'll be fine. And I was trying to talk to you, and you were not there yet.
I wasn't. When you say not there yet, like, I think, I don't think people really, like, I was not, like, there's a lot of that, like, especially the part once we got, like, I don't even remember going upstairs. I don't remember that happening. The next thing I remember is it being on the couch, throwing a pillow at your head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you were gone.
That's where my memory comes back online, kind of. Like, I don't know if it was a sensory overload thing or if it was just a lot to, but I like completely like, bloop. I was just like, I was there, and obviously like these experiences happened, but I don't really know what happened in my head when that happened, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember sitting there kind of, I'm sorry about that. That had to be kind of.
It was okay. It was fine. And then after a while, Dexter's family came home. They had been at church, and I think they stayed extra late, honestly. I think because they came home quite late. I think they stayed kind of extra late after to give us some time. And I met his mother, and she was the one that sat with us. I think your dad kind of got the boys around to go to bed, and that was late. And she visited with us. I wanted to make an excellent impression on her. Because, and then, and Dexter and I had talked about this, but I rented a hotel in town, and I told him, like, you can come, I have 2 queen beds at the hotel, like, you're welcome to come and spend the night with me if you want.
Were you nervous at all doing that? Because
I was nervous, but I knew it was going to be fine. Like, I wanted you with me.
Yeah.
And so I said, I made plan. I was like, I would like you to be with me on this trip. Like, I plan to have you as close as I can on this trip. You will be my support on this trip. So, but if you don't want to, that's fine. But I was a little nervous that it was, because it was very different than it had been on the phone. But I figured, I was just hoping that we could push through, and we did. So that was that first night.
We did stay up late, pretty late.
Very late, which is normal. We still do that.
Yeah, the two of us. I don't want to take. Well, the two of us are kind of like the kid that would stay up late, just contemplating the universe. So you get the two of us together doing that, and it just like we just go and it's. But yeah, we did that. Anyway.
What's the next thing to talk about?
Breakfast the next morning, I think. Going down to breakfast and like.
Yeah, I just did not understand. I really didn't understand that Dexter needed a hand on his walker. he needed both hands on his walker in order to walk. And so I was like, how are we going to do this? Like, he's like, well, you're going to have to go get my food for me. And I was like, what? And because you came down with me, and then I just didn't understand. There was a lot on that trip. And even when we pulled into the Holiday Inn, I was like, what am I going to, like, can you walk into this building? And I don't remember if I asked you or not. I said I was trying to find ways to, like, not be stupid, to ask and not be rude. I was like, is it okay? I would start to ask things like, is it okay if I park all the way back here? Is that gonna be okay for you? And what I meant was, like, can you walk that far? But I didn't know where the line on stuff like that was. As a therapist, if I'm working with somebody, I can ask questions like that, no problem. Like, I can ask, like, how far can you walk? Or, how much activity, or can you stand unassisted, but it's so clinical. So there was a lot of that type of struggle on that trip.
Yeah, and bless your heart. I had no concept of how to help you. Like, I would have answered any question you had.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but I had no concept of how to walk you through how to help me.
You seemed uncomfortable.
I just didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to do it.
I think part of the reason I didn't ask is because I felt like, which maybe it was just me projecting my own discomfort onto you. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But you seemed really uncomfortable to, or maybe just because you didn't bring it up, I felt like you were uncomfortable. I was like, how come he's not telling me what we're supposed to be doing? Is he embarrassed? And then I was like, I don't know. I don't want to make him more embarrassed. I don't know what I should be doing.
Yeah. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I don't think I was embarrassed. I just think, I've existed in a world where everybody already knew.
Right.
And I didn't think to tell you, which is my fault.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't. I didn't have any concept of that. Like, I don't. Up until we met each other, my only concept of helping somebody on a trip is like, how do you fold this walker up? Oh, you do this and this and this, and like.
You told me that pretty quick.
Yeah, but everything else was like, I've never had to even verbalize or think about that kind of stuff.
What else have you wondered about with this trip with me? Or what do you think is the important things to talk about? Not just with me and you, but, like, I don't know. I met my birth mother on this trip. I met all of her family on this trip. Met our grandma on this trip. That was with my girls. That was that was later.
Sorry.
That was when we went back. But what do you think is? What would you be curious to know more about?
If you think I should have came with you, like, because there was a point at which there was one point at which you took me back home, and you went
down to dinner with them.
Yeah, you went to dinner with them. Before that, though, I stayed at the hotel, and you went to the funeral. Even then, like, I talked about in my earlier video how I saw us as family and I was going to be here to support you. I asked you if you wanted me to come, and you said no.
Yeah, so I had debated bringing Dexter with me to go meet with them. I was so afraid I felt very vulnerable to walk into that space that way. And I think I was afraid to connect with my birth mother. I wasn't sure. I would think I was worried probably about rejection. She was going through a lot, obviously. Like, her mother had just passed away. I wasn't sure if she was going to be a person who was going to be available to me as a support on this trip. And I knew I needed somebody. So I thought really seriously about having Dexter attend the funeral with me. Just, he knows he's more a part of this part of Florida. Like, there's just, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but, like, I felt like you were a little less of an outsider than I was. I know that you didn't know those people at all, but, like, it's still, like, in your neck of the woods, and, you had more context for a lot of things than I did.
And even then, not to interject, even then, though, like, I told you at the very beginning, I was like, we're family, we're in this together, so I asked you about that, and
I was like, I will think about it, and then we will decide when we're there.
And I fully intended to come.
Yeah, we packed all your
Like,
things. We packed all of your like church clothes for you to go.
I was like, if you need me, I'm there. Like that's that. The transition was rough, but like I always had that in the forefront of my mind. Is like I'm here for my sister. I'm gonna take care of her, make sure she's okay, with everybody, and we would both be on our back foot there. But like
Mm-hmm.
it's so funny because if I'm in a mode to take care, it's like I don't even have to think about. Like, I'm just gonna do this thing. We're gonna be cool,
Mm-hmm.
and we can lean on each other for it. Like,
Yeah.
so,
So you're wondering it. I don't. I think ultimately Dexter didn't come with me to the funeral, and I feel like that was best.
mm-hmm,
I in that choice, I think I gave her more of a chance to like connect, and she
mm-hmm.
took it.
Yeah.
And she took it, and I'll never forget. I'll never forget the way that we were able to connect during that funeral and during that time. Um, so, but you did come out with me. I stayed in a hotel there. You did come out with me. I like stowed you away in my hotel room.
Yeah, that was all right.
And the night before there was the viewing, and then there was the funeral the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And so the night before, went over to the funeral home. I tried to go a little early, but then I got lost trying to find my way over there, and got there pretty much like a few minutes before the viewing was starting. And my birth mom was there, like not at the door, but at the doors going into like the chapel area of the funeral home. And I like shook hands with her, like with like several different people there, and it took me like a minute to realize it was her, because she had cut her hair short. And so like my first meeting with her, it was the same with him too. When I first met him too, I almost missed him too, which is weird. But so that first time with her, like I almost like I walked past her. I like shook her hand and then like walked past, and then it took me a minute to realize, oh my gosh, that was her. And I had to like go back around and find her. I tried to give her space, because she had a friend of hers there, a very close friend of the family, I think, and then she was like making rounds with the family.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think if she introduced me around. She definitely introduced me around at the funeral. I'm trying to think. I think she introduced me around at the viewing also. But there was a fair amount of time that I was sitting kind of by myself or kind of to myself.
Mm-hmm.
And my cousin, I know a couple of my cousins on that side, and my cousin that I've known for like a fair amount of time, I guess my life, but he came and sat with me for a little bit, and we talked. And he kind of looked after me. I felt like during this whole process, like he kind of stayed on the periphery, but he was watching to kind of make sure that things were okay for me. And he wasn't like real hands on about it, because I think he wanted to take cues from me, but he was good about it, I thought. He gave the eulogy at the funeral, but so I thought it was okay that you didn't go. Yeah, that night at the viewing, like I went into like an old mode of like being like I would at like a cocktail dinner, or like at the health college of health banquet or something. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, like you're this one, or oh yes,
Very
like it's
like
me, Whitney.
presentorial.
Oh, like it's me, Whitney, this long lost family member that you didn't realize. Yes, I am very
Here's
interesting.
my list of
Yes.
qualifications.
Yes, yeah, I am an occupational therapist. I live in New Mexico. Yes, it is very interesting. It's wonderful work. Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful type stuff. I don't think I actually said wonderful, but so I went into that mode. The next day I was just a mess. And I was honestly a mess that night. I remember hugging her, leaving that night, just sobbing. Just like sobbing and sobbing and sobbing and sobbing. Not wanting to leave her. But in front of everybody, I kind of kept it together, I felt like, which I did not the next day at all.
Yeah, I remember you came home that night, and I think we spent like a good 2 hours where
I was just crying.
Just crying, and I just sat there with you.
Yeah. It's heavy, man. Coming into reunion with your family, with your biological families, it's not easy. One thing I worry about with these things with me and Dexter is that, like, I feel like what we have here is like a best case scenario, and it's been brutal. Like, it's been gut-wrenching at times.
It changes a lot.
It changes a lot. And even as you're moving through it is not easy. It's worth it. I feel like it's worth it. But it's not easy. What are you looking at?
I'm checking the messages for that other thing.
Why?
I didn't want to leave them hanging. That's all. Sorry.
What else do you want to know?
So fast forward, you dropped me back off at home.
Oh, so that was after the funeral. So, okay, so went to the funeral. I don't really want to talk a lot about that. That's kind of sacred.
Okay.
The funeral bit. It was very heavy. And I spent time with her, and it was very special. Very special. And then after the funeral, there was like a luncheon thing, and I got out of there pretty quick. I made everybody, she's the youngest of 4, and all 4 siblings were there. And so I made all of them take a picture with me, and then all of my cousins that were there was also in the picture. Which I think all of them were but one. One of her brother's daughters was not there. I think one of them wasn't there. But everybody else was there, so I have a picture with everybody. Then they were like, we're gonna go down to this restaurant. It's where Mom used to like to go to eat, this and this. Will you come with us? I said, I'm not sure what my plans are. I'm meeting back up with my brother. They wanted me to go with them, like, they didn't go like right then, but they wanted me to go over to one of her sister's houses. Like, they weren't mean to me. They weren't trying to like push me out or anything. But I wasn't gonna go. Like, I had just like cried my eyes out. Like, there was just no way.
Very emotionally overwhelming.
Very emotionally overwhelming. And then I met a lot of the extended family too. Like, I met a lot of my cousins, like not my first cousins, but just like her cousins, and my grandmother's sisters and her brother, and the other people that were at this funeral and their children.
Yeah.
And I was done. It's way too many people to meet on one trip.
And I think that's been weird for both of us. Like, I don't think we ever thought of ourselves as people that would reach a limit with meeting people.
Yeah, because we're very social.
So that's always a surprise.
Yeah, because we really have been pushed to our limits. This is about 28 minutes. Should we stop here? Do we have more to talk about with this? Should we just start it again and do the next episode? Like, extend, but we'll end this one. This seems like a good place to end.
Yeah, we can stop here, yeah.
Okay. We're just going to continue on in just a minute, but it might be another episode thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or a bonus one or something.
See you guys soon.
See ya.